joining in. Thanksgiving week. Do any of us count calories or worry about that stuff?
Yes. No. I mean, I worry, but I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Me too. It's
like
Luckily,
it's not a restaurant and they don't post how many stupid calories are on your dish. I mean, what are you thinking, man?
I don't want to know that.
Well, you got to put 1,600 calories next to it. You're just like, I'm an animal if I eat 1,600 calories.
Exactly. All right, here comes Andrea.
You just don't eat anything between now and then.
Right.
You know.
But no, it drives that drives me crazy too, because I absolutely, there's Andrea.
I don't want to know how much calories are in my cheesecake.
Nope, I want to eat
cheeseburger with chili fries.
Right, I want
know,
all those
gravy.
2,000 calories.
And cheese.
What do they say? I think they say what is it, the Thanksgiving meal is like 10,000 calories or something ridiculous like that. No, I think like when you put like the pies and everything.
That's not surprising. I mean,
I'm going, okay, so Gabe, I'm using from your book, you talked about something about vegetables. What was the book that you talked about with the vegetables?
The big Italian vegetable book.
Yeah, listen to your vegetables. So I'm actually making the Japanese sweet potato with the fennel and gorgonzola for Thanksgiving.
Yum. Oh, that sounds really good.
So because I don't do traditional like yams or anything, my sister usually does, but she's not coming, and so I'm like, well, I've got to do some kind of sweet potato. My mother-in-law is Japanese, and if you've never eaten Japanese sweet potatoes, they really are the best. Ooh, their Japanese sweet potatoes don't taste like a regular sweet potato. They're fantastic. So anywho.
Also, that sounds really good. And just a note of house cleaning for Amanda. I realized that I added Foster, and I've already talked about it, and Julie's already talked about it. So I just added refresh. I've added something else.
Okay.
All
right. Sounds good. Okay, let's get going. So it's going to be Gabe, Amanda. It's going to go Gabe, Amanda, B, Andrea, Amanda. How's that work for everybody? Okay. Gabe, take it away.
All right. I am going to talk about a book that needs no introduction, an author who needs no introduction. Anthony Horowitz's latest, The Twist of a Knife. And I just saw, of course, because I'm an idiot, I can't remember. I just saw a Anthony Horowitz TV show either on BritBox or probably BritBox. That was really quite good, better than I expected. And then I just saw that his first writing credit was one of my favorite Robin Hood shows from like the 80s, The Hooded Man. It's a cool kind of little more mystical Robin Hood series. It's pretty good. It was on PBS decades ago. So I go back with Tony. I didn't know how far back I went with Tony Horowitz, but he does what he does now. He has created. He started with Magpie Murders, which is on PBS right now, and actually better than I anticipated. I really am. I've only seen the first episode, and I'm anxious to get to the second one because it's pretty well done as well. And I like when I'm surprised in a good way. But what he's done is he's sort of made these like meta fiction. He's incorporated himself as a character in his books at some level, and so the book is not about him. So in this case, the book is about the detective Hawthorne, who he's brought back, and the book is about him solving a crime to help Anthony Horowitz, who's in a jam. So he's playing with the form is basically what he's been doing, and he seems to be having a lot of fun. I was curious how long can he keep up this juggling act, and the word is M, or M for Murder. It was a previous book. Is that what it was called? Anyways, what was it called? Anyways, I can't recall what the last one was. It was something like that. But he just manages to kind of do the same thing, but also make it a little fresh. And he's a really good storyteller. He's been writing books in the YA world. He writes for television. He's got created these monster hits. But I just like talking about him because they're fun to read. And I have so many fans of Anthony Horowitz with like, when's the galley coming? When I get something to read? So it's always fun to be harassed that way. So the new Anthony Horowitz and Twist of a Knife. It's It's different but the same.
Yep. And we did the virtual event last week. We were involved in that with him with a bunch of bookstores. And I don't think we got the recording of it. I can't remember though, Amanda. Did we get the recording of that? I can't remember.
I just popped it into the comments there.
Oh, good. There it is. Okay. Well, there you go. So it's really good. He did it with Sherry and Lapina, and it was a great conversation. And he's everything you want him to be in the conversation too. And Gabe, and I guess Beth Johnson's on here because she watches the Magpie Murders too. And he does an interview after each one, pointing out what the difference is between the show and the book and why and all that stuff. So he's very fun. And he's very, I mean, I just love him because he's kind of, I don't know. I think everything he does is good. He's kind of, he's not snarky, but he's kind of snarky in like a really good way, you know?
Well, he's kind of like, if you watch a PBS show and there's a writer who is a successful writer, he's kind of like that guy, but he's not like jerky like that guy.
No.
But
he's very straightforward.
He's sort of that prototypical character in a lot of ways for some like a successful
super
Brit writer.
straightforward. And he's just like, you know, he's a no BS kind of guy,
right,
which I kind of love.
Get it done.
Well,
I've been a fan since Alex Rider. I've been reading the Alex Rider since they came out. That's how long I've been a fan.
And that's what he kind of talked about too, Amanda, is that he talked about, you know, writing the Alex Rider stuff and then going into the adult stuff, but then new generations of kids discovering Alex Rider and just this
he wrote
whole
a book like 10 years later, and I freaked out. I like totally freaked out, and I may or may not have taken it from a store. I was like, and I'm going to take that Callie with me.
There you go. I love it. There you go.
Well, you know, I mean, there is a reason why there's so many. It's like that guy is on PBS all the time, right? That character,
right?
That figure.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
There's something about that trope. It's not even a trope, really, but you know. So, I mean, this is gonna another one of those Harper titles that will backlist forever,
right?
And just, you know, like bookstores are going to reorder it until the end of time.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay, Amanda B, with your gobble gobble background.
I even updated my PowerPoint slides for the festive color as well, you know.
There you go.
I am so excited to present this one. I mean, I read this one probably like a year ago, and I've been dying for this book to come out. I actually read it in one sitting, stayed up till 2 a.m. to read it. So this is The Con Artist by Tony Tetreault. And when I first read it, it was just, you know, one of the many manuscripts that I needed to read. I thought it was a work of fiction at first. And then as I went through it, I realized it is not fiction. It's real. And it takes place like in the area that I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley. Mentions the Montclair Mall that I went to as a child. I lived in Upland. And basically what this is about is this guy and how he became an art forger. And he talks about, like, you know, he was like a furniture salesman for a while, had a family, and then like somehow he wound up in like, he just kind of like stumbled into the world of art forgery, and he could create like the perfect forgeries, and his specialty was prints, because it was a lot harder to you know, test the prints and you know, limited edition prints type of thing. It was harder to determine if they were fakes, and he talks about this his whole adventure through it. He even had like a secret room in his house that was built that if you press certain buttons on the phone, the door would like pop open. And I mean, it is a wild ride in the 80s with art forgery. And I literally could not put it down. 2 a.m. and I got to the end, I was like, hot damn. And then I Googled him, and then I went on another little kind of rabbit hole to find out more about this guy. He's alive. He lives in Manhattan Beach. So there you go. Con Artist by Tony Tetreault.
Love it.
That sounds fun.
It sounds really good. It sounds like
it was a wild ride.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, this is fun. And it was a quick read. Like I just was like, poof, 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 right.
So it'd probably be a good one for like people who like the Feather Thief and those kind of, you know, those kind of books. It sounds like where it's just like this real stuff that happens that you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Crazy. Oh man, it was a wild ride, but I loved every second of it.
Love it. Okay.
Cool.
Andrea.
Coming to you from my Aunt Donna's backyard in Sacramento, California.
Hello, Aunt Donna.
Yeah, she's great. Don't tell anybody, but she's my favorite aunt.
podcast out to everybody here.
She's very cool. So the first book I want to talk about is Conversations with Birds. This is by Priyanka Kumar. And let me just tell you, this is a gorgeous book, inside and out. You're not going to miss it. There's a stack on a front table right now at Warwicks. You're not going to miss it because there's foil on. It's a paper over board, hardcover paper over board. So it doesn't have a jacket, but it has this beautiful foil work on the front cover to really make these the birds pop there. And then inside there's some amazing work, a lot of Audubon illustrations, and then one other illustrator, I think. And it's just completely gorgeous. So this is a great gift for the book lover in your life. And it's basically a collection of essays about the author, who's a very well-known filmmaker as well as the writer. Yeah, a serious talent. Okay, so it's her lifelong what she calls conversations with birds, and how exploring nature got her through her emigration from the northern, I think it's the northern part of India, if I remember correctly, to America when she was a child, and how that connection, that bridge of nature really helped her get through. And obviously it worked, because she is a really happening person and has done really well over the years. So she was working in LA in the 1920s on films, and that was when she really started to realize again how important nature was to her. And she feels like she found her connection with the natural world and her place in the universe. And it all really goes right back down to bird watching and how that has always been this connection. And these are beautiful essays. And, I just think that anybody who's interested in birds, even, remotely, obliquely, is going to think this is the cat's pajamas. It's a $20 hardcover, as I say, paper over board. This is from Milkweed Editions, one of those little gems publishing companies that I have the honor and privilege of selling. And this, I don't think we're going to get any more in, and we're pretty much out of stock on this baby. So whatever's on that table at Warwicks is it. So if you have a gift, or you have somebody in mind for a gift, call up and reserve that book and, put it on hold. So
I bet it's gorgeous. I mean, just the picture of the cover right now with that foil on it, but I bet in person it's really something.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just trying to, I can't get it out of share screen mode.
Oh, I'll get out for you. I'll get you out.
Okay, I got it. Okay, thanks.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, it's just a really special book. And we have another big, boatload of this coming, but it's going to be after the holidays. I have a feeling, just with everything going on. So
didn't you have a bird book? I bought it for my daughter. There was another one, slow birding. Was that you?
not me.
Oh, not you. Okay. Never mind. I digress.
Good title though.
I know. I loved it. It was like a really good title. All right, Amanda Q, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to talk about cookbooks today because Thanksgiving.
There you go.
I got to do something fun on Friday. My friends hosted a practice Thanksgiving. So I got to try out a couple of recipes beforehand and see if I screwed them up or, they just weren't good. Went okay. I did highbrow, lowbrow. I made a Jiffy style corn casserole with like a bunch of canned peppers and like,
ooh, yum.
Yeah. And then I made a New York Times red wine pear cardamom cake from Melissa Clark of the New York Times.
Wow.
Yeah, they went okay. but I'm going to talk about other cookbooks. So
Even though those
Here
two
is-
recipes are really good, I'm not going to tell you about them.
there's so many good cookbooks. So like, it's so hard because I know a lot of people get their recipes online now. That's where I got both of those, but I still love cookbooks and they make beautiful gifts. So
Yep.
I want to talk about 6 California Kitchens.
Mm.
Beautiful, beautiful book from Sally Schmidt, who is the founder of the French Laundry restaurant in Napa Valley. And so this is 6 kitchens in her life that have shaped her, and has beautiful stories. And of course, the important part, the recipes and the pictures are just gorgeous. Let me see here. And the recipes, I don't know what it is about the layout, but every single recipe looks so approachable and so simple. The paper's really lovely. It's just when I talk about a cookbook, so much of it is the visceral experience of the book itself. So just I don't know, if you need a cookbook for someone, and it's very quintessentially Californian, this is a great gift. And we have a good stack of them right now at the store.
Good. Yeah, that looks really good. Love it. But I don't know that I could do a practice Thanksgiving, because sometimes the first time I make a recipe, it turns out great because I'm following it so precisely.
Uh-huh.
And then the second time when I make it, sometimes it's like, oh crap. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be good.
I always follow the recipe. You got to follow the recipe, Julie.
No, I do, but somehow the second time it doesn't seem to turn out as good, or maybe
I
it's
kept
just
my little book right there, ready to go.
disappointment.
I definitely have some, if I made the corn casserole again, I'm going to make it differently, because the recipe I found used a whole pint of sour cream and it came out more like
Soup
pudding, like
Yeah.
a pudding than,
like it was
than
a
an
soup
actual,
thing, a casserole. Yeah.
yeah. So
Interesting.
I was glad I got the practice in.
There you go. All right.
Such a gut bomb.
Love it. Okay, Gabe. Round 2.
Myself,
There you
and
go.
a coastline is an immeasurable thing. So our author here is Mary Alice Daniel. Mary Alice left her home in West Africa, Nigeria, as a little kid, where her parents moved to England, and she went from the lush savannas of Nigeria to really prim suburbs and a completely different culture in England. So this is a story, it's a memoir of Mary Alice's and her family's travels, and through 3 continents, basically. So they leave Africa, they go to England, and they eventually settle in the States. It's set against her backdrop is a migratory existence. Her parents were movers. Reminded me a little bit of my wife's family. They moved around a lot, and from continent to continent, and not till they got to California did they, as Mary Alice did, like California, this is the best place. So in a certain way, ultimately, this is really a love song to California, but it's also a reflection on her life, and it is like the best of learning, because she investigates, observes things, and then she thinks about them, and she's a thoughtful person. So she's a thoughtful writer. The book is very poetic in its writing. It's not in verse, but it's a very lyrical telling. And it just takes you from her, you go through the landscape of her life physically as she travels from place to place, but also the landscape of her many cultures that she's absorbing along the way. Because even in her native Nigeria, the government recognizes her as a member of her father's tribe, even though it's a matrilineal practice. So she should, and she most relates to her mother's side, and that's the language she grew speaking. They have different myths in spite of being the same country, same neighboring people. They have separate myths that she's got to deal with, and then the British myths, and then the American things. So it really is a great look at a life that is not been in any kind of conflict, but that is so well observed and so well retold. And I'm a big lover of California, and it really is a lovely section where she sort of comes to this conclusion that California is the final place. And then she gets into a little bit of the great California history. So it is a real thoughtful memoir. It is a bigger, as really strong narrative fiction, and it's a really great cultural telling of her African roots, and all that is really fascinating, of who she started being and then who she is today. And it's a blend of everywhere she's been, and just really well told and really well written. So I recommend it highly. We got an amazing package on it, obviously.
Really good package.
And she's in Southern California, I think, living.
Sounds like a really good memoir.
Yeah, the reviews
Yeah.
have been great. I didn't mention, but I think it got like all 4 Starred Publishers Weeklies.
Sounds like it'll be, it's a, I mean, when your book clubs are looking for good memoirs, that looks like it would be a good one.
Yeah, you got a Starred Kirkus, a Starred Publishers Weekly, a book list starred, only the Library Journal didn't give it a starred review, and then the New York Journal of Books gave it a great review, and I think the New York Times also. I think that's what I read recently.
And people, I mean, this is the thing, it's like, I think sometimes people think, oh, it's a starred, it's not easy to get those starred reviews. So it's like,
yeah, and they don't mean a lot to, I think, to the average person who doesn't. They're the trade reviews, but
right.
They're really thoughtful readers, and these are the people who read, Ishiguro, and these are the people who read
Right.
Barbara Kingsolver's next book. So they are reading a lot of really heavy stuff. And
Yeah,
important
and it
books.
means something. Those starred reviews do mean something. So it gives that little check above. All right, Amanda B.
Alrighty, so next book I have for you today is 100 City, 5,000 Ideas from National Geographic. I love me a good travel book. I'm still down with my travel books every time. So this is a wonderful book from all over the world. And of course, it brings to you Nat Geo's exquisite photography that they always include in their books. And it's basically, they take, so it's 100 cities, and they give you some ideas of what you can do in that city. So it gives you a little bit of the places that you can see, including beautiful photography again. So this is just the Mexico City page, gives you a little snapshot about the city, size, language, money, some basic details that you'll need for your travels. And then again, just hitting the different places that you can go and see in that city. Here's also Sydney. Again, beautiful photography again, little information. So this is a great little book. It's a great coffee table book, great gift for that traveler that you love. You don't know what to give them. This is a really great way to just kind of spark an idea of a travel for somebody. They can just flip through and be like, that looks pretty cool. This is where I can start my travel journey on planning and whatnot. So there you go.
Looks good. Nothing better than a Nat Geo book. There you
Yeah.
go.
That's my favorite part about the Disney Plus is I got Nat Geo on Disney Plus.
I just realized that last night because I watched the Elton John concert on Disney Plus.
didn't know
Tom last week told me about, or I was on the phone with him for something else, and they streamed Elton John's last concert and the stadium
it.
last night on Disney Plus. And as I was flipping, it was like, yeah, Geo's on here. How did I not know that?
Fun fact,
Oh,
my
my
friend actually went to the
cousin was
concert on
there.
Saturday.
Your cousin was there, Andrea?
Yeah, my cousin was there, and he said that it was like so electric. He likes, he prefers small venues. Who doesn't? But he said, you gotta go.
You got to
Yeah.
go.
My best friend and her husband were there on Saturday for the show. And we watched the stream also. Last night together.
I was privileged enough from when Macmillan, when they published Elton John's memoir, Mike Slack took 7 of us, I think it was, to the Elton John concert. It was the start of his farewell tour that started in 2019. We had like floor seats. We were like in row 15, maybe. It was amazing. I mean, it was
the bucks. Spending the bucks on the
it was incredible. I mean, it would literally, because it was like, I've never really been to a concert where I didn't have to look at the screen to see the person. It's like I could see he was like right there. He was on the piano and he was just like right there, just playing for us. It was amazing.
That's cool.
It was something else.
I see that Nat Geo book is from our friend Joe Yogerst.
Oh,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is it new?
San Diego author. He's done a few events with us
did
for
we
his
do?
previous,
Did we do it for that? I think we might have done one for this one. No,
not
it
for
just
this
came out-
book.
It
Yeah.
just came out like last week or this week.
Yeah.
surprising we didn't because we usually do. Joe, Joe,
Nice guy.
where are you?
Joe.
Joe,
Could have got a better offer.
I know, probably. Probably a diesel.
Or he's out traveling.
You know,
Tough
God, look
life.
at Gabe. Look at Gabe. I don't know. All right. Okay, Andrea, what do you got for us?
I've got a very cool gift book for the holidays with a coastal theme, the Surf Atlas.
Nice.
This is from Gestalten, one of our overseas publishers of note. They're you may be able to tell Gestalten, they're from Germany. And this is just this is basically surf porn. Sorry to use that word, that's in like italics. Or it basically it is a world tour of some amazing spots to surf. Look at this. Yeah, it's just really great. So like of course it covers Southern California, Half Moon Bay, Mavericks, Hawaii, Australia, the Arctic.
The Arctic. I was gonna say that joke.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
Crazy.
because people just they there's a little bit of a break and they're getting on a board to catch it,
Yeah.
to catch that wave. So I mean, this is I just think that the photography here is just superb. It's a beautiful coffee table book for the surfer in your life. Hey, you've got like an Airbnb spot, buy this book and put it in there. Like, it's going to class up the joint even more classy than it already is. So the Surf Atlas, iconic waves and surfing hinterlands around the world, hardcover at $75. And there's copies of this at our dear booksellers, Warwicks.
At Warwicks. At
beautiful.
Warwicks. That's a
Beautiful.
great book.
That's
And
cool.
that is a perfect Warwicks book. I mean, it's just
It really is. I mean,
Yep. Yep.
And then also I apologize, Amanda, but I changed my last selection again, so you're gonna have to reload. Sorry.
You're the only one who even tries to give me the books in advance, so don't worry about it.
She works on the fly. She's in the background working on the fly every time. So it's all good.
I appreciate
depend
the
on
warning.
I know. Okay, because you
Like,
never know what you want
I
to talk
do make
about.
I was like, I sometimes still am tweaking my PowerPoint for my third one after I present my first one. So
Oh, for sure.
Exactly. So it's all good. And Arlene wants 2 copies of the Surf Atlas. So call soon, Arlene. The store's
Yep.
still open till 6.
Yep. Yep.
And she was saying on here that she's first saw Elton John in the 70s. I saw him the first time in 70. No, it must have been 80. It must have been because I came down to San Diego to college in 79. So it must have been in the early 80s when I saw him at the horrible sports arena. It's
Oof.
like the sports arena. We call it the
I
stink
love the
aroma.
sports arena.
I hate the sports arena.
It's awful. The sound
It's
is awful. The venue's-
Awful. It's
and I love it.
It's horrible.
Sun
It's-
rebounds off the back wall.
rebounds
like
off
a
the
basketball,
it's just
hits
like
you in the back
it's
of the head.
so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. I
But I did see
really-
Elton John. I've seen some good people there. But
I
honestly,
mean, stadium shows, I just don't get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that they, want to get as many people, they want to get those tickets and everything, but I mean, I just find it, especially now that I'm a geezer, it's just untenable.
oh yeah, because the thing, okay, so when I'm such a geezer, it's like we went and saw the Who there, and so the stage is here, we're on the side, so I had to look sideways the whole time. It hurt my neck. I was like,
Yeah.
having to look this way the whole time.
Wearing a little neck brace that next week. Yeah.
Such a geezer.
Concert injury.
Yeah.
The audience, and it's like my husband looking around, and it's just like all the gray hairs. It's like that's us. We just dye
man,
ours.
Deb and I went
Oh.
to the Steely Dan concert at next to Staples a few years back, and we were reading people's texts from like 5 rows back.
At the giant. Love it. Okay, Arlene's on here sharing her first concert was the Beatles, Jealous. Shea
Oh my
Stadium.
God.
I can't believe that's the first, because okay, Arlene, this is funny. So she heard Beatles, Shea Stadium, August 1976. I mean 1966, which is incredible. So that's one of the icebreakers that I
amazing.
usually do with people. It's like if you're in a big group, it's like if you're just like if the conversations are lagging or whatever, I always say, what was your first concert? And it's so much fun to find out what people's first concerts were. And I did it with John Grisham. When I first interviewed him, I asked him the question, and his first concert was actually Elton John. Was John Grisham's first concert.
Nice.
And so Todd Dowdy was so funny. He goes, I didn't even know that was his first, like,
It's fun. Carlos Santana and Ozone Motley at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh
you go.
my God.
There you go.
Wow.
First concerts are very
Very
impressionable.
fun. We were in the back. I think we were
Doesn't
like
matter.
2 rows from like the last from like the grass area.
Wow.
we were still not that far, but we were back.
We were pretty
There's
far
not, there's
back.
not a bad
That's
seat
a
at the
great
booth.
double
Oh,
bill.
No
I
kidding.
love Ozone Motley. More people
so
should
much
know
fun.
about Ozone Motley.
Yeah.
I mean, I was what, 12, 13 at the time?
Okay, I'm so bad. Do you know what I took my daughters, and I didn't even go with them. I sent my niece. I sent my daughter to the Spice Girls when they were like 5.
5. Found out about somebody. Brilliant.
Wow.
Mom,
That's
Mother of the Year.
parenting,
yeah.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
Parenting, come to me for parenting advice.
Listen, you still have gold stars for that. Okay. You've got
I
like,
mean,
Right?
you're
Spice
like, I
Girls.
don't want to hear the music, but I'll send them.
Right. So they can claim Spice Girls as their first concert.
There you
I
go.
love it. All right, Amanda Q, what do you got for us? Let's get back on track here.
Okay. Next cookbook. And by the way, all these cookbooks I have because I can't be a person who purchases my own cookbooks because they're so expensive. So I was privileged to be part of a committee for the Golden Poppy Awards, which are awarded to books that are excellent in either by Californian authors or are set in California or somehow Californian.
Written in California.
Yeah. So here's another, and I love this book so much. This is Mooncakes and Milk Bread by Christina Cho. It's amazing. So it's
You can
sweet
get
and
it.
savory recipes inspired by Chinese bakeries. This won several James Beard Awards. It was one of the New York Times's best cookbooks of the year. So I think for a lot of people, Chinese food, like all the delicious buns and things you see are sort of daunting, like you would never think about making them at home. But Christina Cho makes it very approachable. She also has a very large Instagram following, and she does a lot of nice videos on there that make it seem so easy. I have not personally made any of the recipes in here yet, but my roommate has. And
Ooh, that's even better. Somebody else baking.
she made these egg tarts
Mm.
and they were so good, I cried. I literally cried when I bit into it because it was so
Wow.
good. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff in here. There are buns and dumplings, cakes, drinks like milk teas and things like that. And it's just rad. So if you're at all interested in making Chinese food at home, although it is fun to go out for Chinese food on holidays. I know a lot of people do
It's
that,
really fun.
but if you're like me and you're scared to go in a restaurant still, but you missed dim sum, and you want to try your hand at it, here's Mooncakes and Milk Bread by Christina
Looks
Cho.
really good. Is that one of yours, Gabe? Is that a
Yes.
Yeah,
Amanda was
okay.
on that early on.
love it? Okay, Arlene uses the first concert as an icebreaker too. It's a great icebreaker. But Beth's on here. She saw Prince as her first concert. And she says he was a local guy. I love it. Yep, Minnesota, but that's a good first concert. Love it. All right, let's go lightning round. Gabe, what you got?
So we had Van Halen play at my high school.
No way. You're okay. Now you're old. Now you're just telling us how old you were. Because Van Halen played at a high school.
They were. we had a tussle with the student body because there was this band called Ace, and they were like the top of the heap, and they played, Long Train Running and
Yeah.
the OJs and all that stuff, all the dance, all the high schools and the proms. They were Ace was at the top, and then We the People was like the next. That was our prom, and then but Van Halen was kind of in Pasadena area, and they were a rock band, and they did their own thing, and it was like Ace wouldn't be saying, we don't open for anybody. And Van Halen
Oh,
wasn't going to open for anybody. So we're like, we'll try Van Halen. And,
Oh
and it
my
was a cool
God.
show.
Yeah, I bet.
Half the people left.
Well, I'm going to age you out a little bit. They were that kind of rock was, you guys were still playing more. You guys were probably a little more on the soul stuff.
No, it was, I mean, most of, I'd been transferred over to like FM, like in the 8th grade.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I was listening already to KLOS and
Okay. All right. I'll give you a
then the
little.
Mighty Met. So enough about me,
Yeah.
my interesting life. So How to Stand Up to a Dictator. This is a book by Maria Ressa. She is a well-known international journalist. She was one of the recipients of the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. Maria is actually, we are having, Forward is done by Amal Clooney. And so she's a celeb in the world of civil rights. She's been fighting corruption in the Philippines, which is her native nation. And we are actually, I had her scheduled for an event early in the year, but it looks like she's about to, or may have already been arrested by the authorities in the Philippines. So she's one of these people who like walks the walk, and she's, fighting for, the anti-corruption, fighting for her country as best she can, being really persecuted all along the way by the Philippine government, so that is not letting up on her. So there's a lot of disinformation that she battles. So she's really come to heads with the leader of the state, but she's not letting up, and good for her. And I hope everything turns out. But a really interesting life that she's led. The Philippines have been an up and down nation for many years now, and this guy now is sort of a nutcase, but she's she's fighting the fight. I always admire people like that. Samantha Powers, her, people who really stand up for what they believe in and are all in.
Were you guys at Harvard trying to get her to come over here, or do like a virtual thing or something?
She was going to be doing, she was supposed to be in the country.
Wow.
So but are they going to let her leave? And so the conversation was like, we don't know where we are, I think. So
Crazy stuff. Okay, Amanda B.
Okay, and of course, my last one is a very charming picture book, How to Send a Hug by Haley Rocco and John Rocco. So this is about a young little girl who wants to send her grandmother a hug because she's talking on the phone and talking on the computer. It's just not the same as sending a hug. So she has to figure out how can she send a hug through the mail. So ultimately, she ends up writing a letter to her grandmother. So there she is, giving hugs. She wants to give one to her grandmother. So she writes her grandmother a little letter, and then it goes all along the way. And then you can see everybody's writing their own letters and sending their own hugs through the mail. Very cute, very charming picture book. Just really wonderful to have. I love me a good picture book with beautiful illustrations, and this one is just absolutely charming. So there you go.
Looks like it's got great illustrations.
I love John Rocco's illustration. He is a phenomenal illustrator.
Yep.
And I do love many of his previous work. So it's great to see him having this book. So.
All right. And Arlene got her books purchased, so she was on it. I think she got herself a couple of those surf books already, Andrea. The power of the internet, man.
Thanks so much. Thanks for
I
your
love
support.
it. Love it. I love this. All right, Andrea.
Gestalten and I thank you. That might be the name of my first screenplay. Gestalten and me.
I think you just like saying it.
I do. Do you like a little gestalten
with your
atop your pasta? Okay, sorry.
All right.
So I want to talk about PJ O'Rourke's The Funny Stuff. This is the official PJ O'Rourke quotationary and Riffipedia. And this basically covers, it's a great little compendium. It's a smaller, giftier size. It's what is it? 8.3 by 5.5. So it's a little bit giftier, small, little hardcover, and it basically collects all of his quotations from just pithy little epigrams to his long couple of page quotations, like riffs that he was known for. And this is edited by his good friend Christopher Buckley. There's an intro by Christopher Buckley, I'm sorry, and then Terry McDonnell, another old friend of his who was like an editor at Newsweek forever, it edits it. And the publisher of Atlantic Monthly, which is the sister publisher of Grove Press, Morgan Atherton was an old friend of PJ's as well. And he said that when he was looking at the manuscript, he was like on the couch and his family was around doing stuff, and he would just like burst out laughing, and they were like, "What's up? What are you reading?" Because he'd go through it and then just start laughing uproariously like every couple of pages. So this is a book for the PJ O'Rourke fans that are out there. And over the years, Warwicks has had a wide audience for PJ O'Rourke. You guys always sell his books well, and I just think that this, you can't go wrong with this. It's a perfect little stocking stuffer book for folks who like PJ. He died at 74 in February, and there was a lot of tributes that went out. And this published on November 15th, which would have been his 75th birthday. So here's to PJ. He had a strong socio-political view, not everybody's cup of tea, but he was a gentleman and really funny, and never was disrespectful of anybody who had a different view, and I have a lot of respect for that. So
Yep. No, he's really good. And Morgan, when he did pass, that you could tell that Morgan was just devastated when that happened.
Yeah, it was a serious blow. They've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Just to lighten things a little bit up here too, Beth on here, Andrea, ordered a couple of the books from a few weeks ago, a couple of the kids, the Wolf Suit and the Albie books.
Yeah.
And she says they're both so cute. And the panel at the bottom showing the king, what he's up to when Albie's gone. She says it's like adults, it's funny for adults too. So. Yeah,
it is. It's like, that's such a great addition. Really clever. And I'm so glad, Beth, that you like those. Those are both really just exceptional and just a little bit off the beaten track kids books. So, which are kind of fun. I love those. Those are kind of fun. Okay, Amanda, wrap us up.
Okay, one more cookbook. This is one for your friend who took up sourdough during the pandemic and now needs to move on to their next in-depth exploration of the science of a staple. This is Masa by Jorge Gaviria. Techniques, recipes, and reflections on a timeless staple. Beautiful book, and it's incredible. It has everything that you could want to know about this food that is so important. And it's got
your microphone goes away every time.
Sorry,
you show a
yeah.
picture.
No, I was just lusting after those corn dogs that I
okay, was that randomly. A corn dog with my okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
So I wanted to read a couple of the quotes on this book because they are from giants in the cookbook field. Harold McGee says, Jorge Gaviria has been a pioneer in spreading the delicious gospel of freshly made masa, and masa is a wonderfully personal and wide-ranging guide to its world. Alice Waters says, it's hard to believe that masa, the ubiquitous, delicious, and foundational dough, has yet to receive its close-up until now. And Rick Bayless says, this is the book I've been wanting for decades. So it is a very important book. Again, it's shocking that no one has done this yet. And the author is a pioneer for bringing back masa and providing it to people and educating them on its importance as a food staple. So
this is the
it's a
time
really
of the masa,
awesome,
man. Tamales.
awesome. Yeah, it's an awesome book.
Gearing up for tamale season.
Yeah, it's time to start.
Time to
Christmas.
start.
Yep.
is-
Who
yeah,
publishes that?
This is from Chronicle.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It is kind of amazing because it's a foundational food stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It should have been covered.
And
Way
it's really
a long time
nicely,
ago.
it's just a cool, like, definitely a lot of it is, oh, hey,
There you go.
it's definitely for the food scientist in your life, but it's still very readable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a copy downstairs.
Oh, see, everyone got a copy. I was like, oh, I'm getting a copy.
You
from
get a
Masa.
copy. You get a copy.
to
You
get
get a
one.
I get
copy.
the copy of Masa.
Can't make tamales without masa.
You get a tortilla.
And most people don't realize, there's different kinds. The masa is so, like, even for like tamales, there's
Yeah.
so many different kinds of masa. We use when we do our tamales, we use like 2 to 3 different types of masa,
Yeah.
depending on which tamale you're making.
Yeah. Now see,
Okay.
my great grandma she made flour tortillas. So that was never like masa was not a thing in our house because she was from New Mexico and they were doing flour tortillas there.
My mom's Texan
Oh.
and she does flour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she always does the flour.
Yep.
Um,
So I need this book clearly because I need to
Clearly.
learn about it.
clearly, you need to get a copy of this book
All day.
all
Yep.
day.
All day.
All right, Kim. Andrea, Kim on here just ordered Conversations with Birds. So
Oh, right on.
we got some good
Thank you.
ordering going on today. Love it.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks,
Christmas around the
everybody.
corner.
Get your
It
Christmas
is.
shopping done now. Get
I
your
know.
Christmas shopping done now.
All right.
Milkweed Editions, thanks you. They're really great. So they'd be
Hey,
happy.
our milkweed is a good one.
They're
This
rad.
was fun. I'm glad you guys joined us today. And I know everybody's busy for the holidays, but nothing like good book recommendations. So I'm getting ready for the gift giving season. So thanks everybody for joining. And we got to find out about some new concerts and some old concerts, some old stuff. So
beat.
we'll be back next week, next Monday. We'll see you guys. Have a wonderful
everybody.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk to y'all soon. Thanks, everybody.